Hello everyone, back with you for another video. My second attempt at this video because I realized as I was uploading it, there was some information that I neglected to mention. So I wanted to redo this and make it a more informative video for those interested. This video was actually a request of an uncle of mine. His name is Doug, who obviously watches my videos, and we've shared music that we both like with each other, and this is one band that Doug got somewhat familiar with. One album in particular that'll show when we listen to quote unquote my type of music. You know, we'd be like, no, it's, you know, we'd switch off. Now it's my turn to play my type of, you know, that type of thing. When he lived with my family for a little bit back in the day. But the band he requested about is a hard rock metal band named Bloodgood, founded in 1984 by bass player Michael Bloodgood. Yes, that is his given last name. And yes, Bloodgood is a band who have very heavy faith-based lyrics. Their faith in Jesus Christ resonates all throughout their catalog. And as far as proper studio albums, I have all but one. But and hopefully I don't forget to mention that record like I did when I attempted this video in the past. But here we go. The band was formed in 84. In 85, they released a demo cassette of songs, and they entitled that Metal Missionaries. I had a CD release of that they released on that 25th anniversary of that a few years back, but I have no idea what happened to it, so I don't have that to show, unfortunately. So I'll start with their self-titled debut album from 1986 called Bloodgood. And Doug, I'm sure you've heard this particular album. I'll rattle off some song titles to see if they ring any bells. But Accept the Lamb, Stand in the Light, I never really cared for that song. Demon on the Run, the album starts to pick up steam with Demon on the Run. Anguish and Pain, Awake. Bloodgood singer Les Carlson, as a professionally trained voice, he was on Broadway before he joined Bloodgood. He was in the musical Hair, is the big one I hear that he performed in. But he's a professionally trained singer, and it shows, especially on the song Awake, which on the vinyl or cassette closes out side one. But especially the high notes he hits in Awake, the song Awake, is just insane. Soldier of Fortune, You Lose, What's Following the Grave, Killing the Beast, and Black Snake. I'd say my favorite song on here is the song Awake, mainly for Les's vocals on that album, just amazing. On that song, just amazing. And throughout this whole album, he is good vocal performance. Then comes the album which Doug, you are most familiar with. Their follow-up to their debut. This was released in, I believe, 86, 87. Well, if this had to be 87, because that debut was released in 86. But 1980, we'll just call it 1987's Detonation, Battle of the Flesh, Vagrant People, Self-Destruction, Alone in Suicide, which is the song you remember the most. We've talked about that song at length. The standout two songs on this are songs called Crucify and the Messiah, which tell the Easter story of the arrest, death, and resurrection of Christ. Those are the two best songs on this. This is probably what this album is most known for. But other standout songs are Eat the Flesh, Holy Fire, especially Self-Destruction. Battle of the Flesh, Vagrant People are okay. Heartbeat of the Cities, pretty good. Don't care too much for the closing track on this album, Live Wire, but still a good album. But definitely check out Crucify and the Messiah. Now comes my personal favorite Bloodgood album. Almost showed these out of order. Now comes my personal favorite Bloodgood album, as I delayed echo in here, but Rockin' a Hard Place. Saw the first lineup change in the band. Drummer Mark Welling joined the fold for this album. This album is somewhat of a departure, especially from Detonation. This is a lot more melodic. There's acoustic songs, a couple acoustic songs on here. One called She's Gone, and the other is A World Keeps Turning Around. But there are definitely the rockers on here. Shaking It, Never Be the Same. The Presence is another melodic rocker. What Have I Done? Yeah, so alright song. Heaven on Earth, Do or Die, She's Gone, The World Keeps Spinning Around, and then the album closing track called Seven. My favorite of the Bloodgood albums, yet again. Then comes an album where, for whatever reason, discovering other bands, that type of thing, venturing away from the faith-based music, as I did for a while there, came this album called Out of the Darkness. Very good album. These two, starting with Rockin' a Hard Place, these sound like the most polished albums that Bloodgood released to this day, as production-wise. This is heavier than Rockin' a Hard Place. But great songs, like the title track, Let My People Go, America, which is probably the standout track on this album. It's Alright, Hey You, New Age Illusion. Another good album from Bloodgood. Then comes the album I don't have in my collection, because at this time I wasn't that interested in them. But they released an album early 90s, I believe, called All Stand Together. I've only heard a couple tracks from it, and it sounds like a big departure in what they had done previously. There's keyboards in this album, from what I hear. But a different Bloodgood album. I'm struggling talking about this because I really don't know, like I said, a whole lot about it. But it's all called All Stand Together. I've heard 2 tracks on it. There was talk of them re-recording that album, making it a heavier sound. I did hear a sample of a re-recorded track, I believe, called The Rock Cries Out or something like that. But that's as far as my knowledge of All Stand Together goes. Then they went on, then they officially disbanded for a little bit. Michael Bloodgood went on to become a pastor at a church, which he still is to this day, in the Seattle, Washington area. And he recorded a much different type of solo album called Michael Bloodgood and Friends, which vocalist Les Carlson appears on. I've never had that particular release. And then around 2006, Bloodgood got back together. Les Carlson, the vocalist, and Michael Bloodgood have been the only 2 members that have been in the band throughout its existence. So they rejoined the fold with a couple of different quote-unquote new guys. And one of the new people to enter the lineup is guitarist Oz Fox from Stryper, who played on a long-promised album since they got back together in 06, 2006. People were clamoring, when are you going to record a new album? And in 2013, they finally release Dangerously Close, which Oz Fox appears on. Depending on what he was doing with Stryper, he came and went on performances the band did at festivals, mainly in Europe. Segue a little bit. I want to talk to you about a little bit of first, before I get into Dangerously Close, Bloodgood's live performance. Around the era of Run From the Darkness and Rock in a Hard Place, and I've only seen video of it. I wish I could have seen live. I wish I could have seen it live. Their shows in that era of time, the Out of the Darkness tour and the Rock in a Hard Place tour, were very theatrical. Almost Alice Cooper-esque in a way. Where for a lot of the songs in the set they had actors acting out the lyrics in the song, what the message the song was trying to convey. Actors were acting that out. Like for the song Crucifying the Messiah, they had the whole trial before Pilate, Christ being crucified, and in the song The Messiah Resurrected. I mean, it was just phenomenal to watch on video. I couldn't just imagine what it would have been like to see that live. But I digress. On to Dangerously Close. Came out in 2013. As with everything, things don't stay the same as you age, but still quality music from Bloodgood. Les's vocals aren't as sharp, but by no means are they bad. It's still a great vocal performance, but the range doesn't seem to be as high as it was back in the day. I mean, that's That's only to be expected. But solid album nonetheless. Songs I could do without is I Can Hold On. That's one song I could do without. The other song I kind of on Child on Earth, there's just one part of the song that I don't like, but otherwise it's a good song. Standout tracks on here are Lamb of God, Runaway, Pray, Crush Me is a good acoustic song. In the Trenches, to close the album out, is a fantastic song. But anyway, Doug and any of my music community friends that are interested, there's my little video on the band Bloodgood. One thing I will mention about this album that I almost forgot to mention again. There's a song on here called Man in the Middle. If it was written back in the days that Crucify and the Messiah would have fit right in with those two songs. And you could also, if you wanted to act out the whole Easter story, could add the song Awake in there too. But anyway, before I get off on too much of a rabbit trail, my thoughts on Bloodgood. Doug and my music community fans, have a fantastic day. Enjoy the music. And Doug, I'll be seeing you soon.